My name is Willie James Johnson. Got a couple of nicknames to go with that. Stinky Johnson, Chili Willie, and Pops. And basically I was born in New Albany, Mississippi. My mother is Mabel Colina Johnson, and my father was Jimmy James Johnson. And I lived most of my life in New Albany. I have four other siblings. My oldest brother is George Cannon. He was a truck driver. And Robert Bob Johnson. My next brother, then me, and I have my younger brother, Miles Johnson. He's July the 8th, 1951. And of course, Bob is not here anymore. He passed back in August 22nd, 1998, and while we was performing in Verona, Mississippi. And anyway, we all grew up in pretty much the same house. My older brother George, he was in and out as he got older, but Bobby, myself, and my younger brother Mike, we all grew up in the same house. And my mother used to sing all the time around the house, and she always played the radio, so she sang. I never picked that part up on the singing, but we did used to rattle her pots and pans. I did when I had an interest in being a drummer. So we had lard cans, pots and pans. Of course, we broke sticks for our sticks. So up to that point, that was where I got my music interest in there. Of course, they had, we listened to the radio. You hear bands and stuff, you wish you could be a musician, but didn't know what. Never took band in high school. I guess I was too late. And so I picked it up from watching other people mostly. But my, I guess, most instructional introduction to music came from my older brother Bobby. He had been in the Air Force, and when he came back in '66, he had been playing in a group in the Air Force up around, he was stationed in North Dakota, Minot, North Dakota. So he was singing and playing bass. So when he got out and came back to home, Mississippi, he wanted to start a band. So he did. So he bought me a set of drums from Dude Kennedy. I'm sure y'all don't know him. And he basically taught me how to play, what to play. He never had any instruction on playing. He just picked it up, as being a musician and just being inquisitive. He could tell you what to play, how to play it. And so anyway, we started a band in 1966, and we played together for a while. It was Bobby, myself, and a friend named Clifford Williams. Clifford Williams, he played guitar, and he was from around New Albany. And the first name we had was the Piccolos. And of course we played R&B and blues, and that's what we started with. And I do remember our first gig was in May 1966. It was in Ecru, Mississippi. It was a place down there called Hives Recreation Center or something like that. And anyway, it was in Ecru, and we played for a prom down there, and that was in '66. So we kept the band going after that, and picked up a few other guys. And one guy was from Tupelo named Alfonso Rachel. He was a alto sax player, and also Roland Howell from New Albany. He played like rhythm guitar with us for a while there, and he later was drafted, sent to Vietnam, and didn't make it back. And also, our band director from New Albany was R. Jerry Miller, and he come in and played keyboard with us. So that got us up to 1967, and we played for my senior prom that year. So I was playing. I didn't get to do much out there with everybody else. And the band name later changed from the Piccolos to Bobby Johnson and the Messengers. I started playing basically as my junior year, like February, March, something like that. So
you're still drumming?
Yes, that's when I started, and so it went from there. So I've been playing ever since junior high school. We were playing mostly like Motown stuff, of course the blues, and well, there was plenty of blues artists out there, like B.B. King, Bobby Bland. I remember us playing Wilson Pickett music. We didn't have a female singer at the time, so I don't recall any female singers. Maybe Tyrone Davis. His names get away from me after a while.
Yeah.
Joe Tex, James Brown, of course. O.V. Wright, a guy from Tupelo also got with us at a later date. Can't call his name right now, but he sang with that high voice, kind of like falsetto. And I was trying to think his name.
Who was singing for y'all at this time?
Bobby was doing most of the singing, and like I said, later on, the guy from Tupelo was singing with us, and we also picked up other horn players from another group out of Tupelo, Joe Baker. He played trumpet, but he didn't do vocals. And one guy, James Brown, his name was James Brown, and he played tenor sax. And one of the guys was Doc Green. He was a music teacher from Tupelo, Carver High, and he played tenor also. And neither one of those guys is around now. So it's like out of that era, I'm the only one left. So I'm the Lone Ranger. I stayed with the band till like around December 67, and I enlisted in the Navy. So I was gone about almost 3.5, 4 years. And when I came back, that's when the band had kind of evolved. And that's when the other guys like Joe Baker and Doc Green, the other guys I mentioned, was in the group. And at that time, since they already had another drummer, Paul High, he's still around, but he's in a rest home here in New Albany. And so he doesn't play. And he was drumming, so we didn't have two drummers at the time. So anyway, here goes Bobby again. He was a bass player, so he taught me how to play bass. And he just picked it up himself. And he learned it while he was in the Air Force, more or less playing, so he passed it on to me. Let's see.
What was the age difference between you and Bobby?
About close to 2 years. He was born March 6th, I think, 1947, and I was born January 18th, 1949.
Okay.
So just a couple of years, almost a couple of years different, but it seemed like it was really more than that, but it wasn't. You know, when you grew up together like that, then those birthdays kind of seemed like you're all about the same age.
When y'all first started, where would y'all practice?
Well, we used to practice at, I think, we used to practice at our house, which we live up on the hill, as we call it, up by B.F. Ford, across the street. Used to be other houses around that area. We practiced there, and we also practiced at the band hall at B.F. Ford. So that's what we got our practice in.
Where was the band hall?
This is the gymnasium now, the Boys and Girls Club. Well, on the west side of the building downstairs, there's I guess you could call it a basement, but that was where the band hall was. And that was during the time Art Jerry Miller was our band director.
You said you got your drums from Coach Kennedy.
Uh-huh.
Did he play with y'all some?
Yeah, he, I'm not exactly, I think he came along while I was gone. And at the time, I think him and Paul High that's when we had two drummers. So they kind of complement each other. And Paul High, he did play in the band, and he was taught by Art Jerry Miller. But anything before that, I'm not sure about Paul. And yeah, he taught me how to play bass, and after a while, I had picked up on it, and so Bobby kind of laid back playing bass, and he just started singing. Let me see. Oh yeah, during that time too, December '67. That's when Sam came back, and of course, that's when that Sam and Bob duo began. Bobby and myself went over to Sam's, and we talked to him. He had just came back from Vietnam. So he was staying on the north side, and Bobby asked him about getting together, joining in the band, and he did. So as Sam came in, I left, and let me see, oh yeah, Larry Berry? No, Bobby kept playing bass up to a point. Yeah, he played bass, and he was still playing when I came back. But after I came back, that's when Larry Berry kind of came in. I went back in the Navy, so they need to start playing bass again, somebody. So Bobby did for a while, and then Larry, they picked him up from another band that was around here in New Orleans. I think the name of them was Post African Express, and it was Larry, Crow, James Cole, and Pinky Pulliam. Those guys had a little group, and we kind of plucked him from that group, and Larry kept on playing with us. He's been with us ever since after that.
Did you go to Vietnam?
Yes, I went, but I didn't beat the rice paddies. I was on the Navy aircraft carrier, and we did our stuff from out in the Gulf of Tonkin, sending out sorties, airplanes, and they go in and bomb and strafe, do all that, put cover for our troops. But I didn't get on the ground. But I did pull into Da Nang Harbor for replenishments, restore the ship. But I didn't have, as they call it, boots on the ground. Lack of things to do to entertain the troops when you wasn't, out in the bushes, they call it, or the jungle. And we had what they call MWR, moral welfare, recreation, and they usually had, pianos, guitars, drums, because it was something, people just do when in the downtime, as they call it. And they also had, the USO troops to come through, and they played, so it was something to do all the time as far as music goes, and some guys just picked it up. I know I did coming when I came back from Nam. I had to go in the hospital for a while. I had something that some kind of rash, something I brought back with me that I didn't have when I went over there. And it was a guy in the hospital who had a guitar. It was acoustic, or box guitar rather. And he used to play all the time, and I used to pick up the bass lines on it, and he showed me a few things. So that's kind of where I got a little introduction with the guitar also.
Did you ever get to see any of those USO shows?
Yeah, we had them on our ship, and sometime when you pull in ports, especially the friendly ports like Philippines or Hawaii, especially, they had the USO shows, and we was on Liberty, as they call it, your free time. We go to the shows, and like I said, they do the USO shows on the ship too. Because, we didn't go in. The troops had them on the ground where their bases were, but we had ours on the ship. The biggest ones were like James Brown bass guitars, and Bootsy Collins was playing with him at one time, I think, during that time. And after that, Larry Graham. Let's see. Anybody playing blues, the bass player always zeroed in on that. But I don't remember all of them names. But, other bands like Pooh Nanny, that's the name, Pooh Nanny. He was out of Birmingham, Alabama. He used to come through with a nice band. Of course, Tyrone Davis used to come to Tupelo. It's a Gap Band used to come to Holly Springs. Well, we used to go to the Coliseum for the big bands in Memphis. Of course, you had James Brown, all the big name stars, things like that. Let me see. Wilson Pickett, Joe Tex, all those guys in that time frame. And locally, it was some of the other guys' group, I can't think of the name of them, but like the group that Joe Baker and James Brown played in out of Tupelo, they had a band. I used to follow them around a little bit.
What was their name?
Oh, I can't remember their name. I don't know. They used to play at the Elks and a place called the Cotton Patch in Verona. Elks was in Tupelo. And let's see. I said Bond Motel. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Well, Bond Motel, they had a basement down which they entertained.
Where was that?
It's in Tupelo on Green Street, north, up close to the Elks there. And, that was like the places that we go. West Point, we used to go down there. Bobby Rush used to come through, and other groups. Lee Shot. It was pretty much groups around the whole area. I can't remember one from Caron. I'm not sure about Ripley, but the Burnsides from Holly Spring and Kimbroughs, they had groups over there. We used to go to Holly Spring, and I forgot that place we used to go to. Scott's, and then the Kimbroughs had a place that was out selling. I don't know the name of it.
Did you go there to the Junior Kimbrough's place?
And then they also played in town at this place, bar or whatever they had, wherever they could fit a group in. It was like a club, joint, they call it,
Did y'all ever play at Junior Kimbrough's?
Yeah, we played over there long ago. I know, Bob and Sam used to talk about them all the time. And anyway, we used to go over there. That's where the entertainment was, one of the places. and we'd go over there.
When do you feel like your band just really became, like, gelled together and it became the band, and it was kind of stayed that way, as much as a band does?
Well, I'd have to say pretty much the mid-70s. We was really flourishing then and going everywhere. Between the mid-70s up to the 80s, because I left again and went back in the Navy in 82. But in early 70s and mid-70s, that's when we was really, well, we had a show going on.
And what was the band name then, the official name then?
Sam and Bob and the Soul Men, that's what we went by. And, well, doing some recording, I think that was like in 78 when we was signed to Polydor label. They wanted to change the name, so that's when we ended up with that name, Majoba. Mosley and Johnson Band, Mosley Johnson Band, as someone might say. And yeah, that was it. And then
the name changed because of other artists with similar names. Is that
right? Correct. The Sam and Dave duo. That's what it was close to. They didn't like that, so they wanted to get away from that. I don't know if it was infringing on their copyrights or whatever, but Sam and Dave, you know, Sam and Bob.
Yeah, you start confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, let me see, oh yeah, it was another group I just thought of. They used to come through here. I think the guy named, we called him Ferris Jr. and the Jacksonians. They was from out of Jackson, Tennessee. They used to come down through here and we followed them around. You know, they hit all the local places, Hot Springs, New Albany. I think they did Ripley, Tupelo, West Point, you know, this kind of northern area where we were.
Where would they play in New Albany?
Where?
Mm-hmm. When bands would come through like that.
Let's see. You said where would they play?
Mm-hmm.
I think they played at the, come down to the dugout. I think it was the dugout. I don't know if they played at the Ark or not, Gibson's Ark down here. Let's see. New Albany, of course, New Albany didn't have too many places you could put bands, but we played and around. Let me see.
The place you're calling the dugout, how many would that hold?
I imagine it would hold 200 or 300 in there. That's the upstairs room of, they call it the dock now, I believe. It's right across the track over here. I think, yeah, something like that.
So it was the upstairs of it?
It was the upstairs, because downstairs they had a pool hall. So we didn't do upstairs and downstairs. Let's see, I don't know if they ever played at the gym or not, anybody, but we played at the gym before, the BF4 Gym Boys and Girls Club. We played there before. I can't think of a place.
Okay.
The only thing I can think of come close to be, it's a place in Hickory Flat, which was out in the country, called Scott's. He used to have bands up there too, and that was one of the hot spots for the weekend, you know, for people around here, especially the African American people. You know. I was there for some of the recording of our own music, which Bobby and Sam mostly wrote and Doris Beatty. Now that was done in I think 70, 71, and of course we had our own label named Sabo, and we did a lot of that recording at the Natural Trace over there. They had a recording studio over there, and there was a place in downtown Tupelo across the tracks east, and we did that, and that was early 70s. And then when the Polydor recording was done. That was like around the late 70s, 76, 70, up through 78 maybe. And they done that. And at the time, that's when we was pretty much all over the place. Dallas, Texas, Peoria, Illinois, Chicago, Evanston, Missouri, Sikeston, and Poplar Bluff. There's another place around there we to it. Jacksonville, Florida. I think Jacksonville, Florida, and somewhere, I think we was around Valdosta, Georgia. We didn't do too much down on the coast, but Jackson, and
How were y'all traveling?
van. We had a van, and at one time we had a van and something like a bread truck, panel truck. And a bus, and we had a bus at one time, and I think that's when we was scrolling with a Majobo on the bus. And,
Your band is how many members at this point?
Sometime 9, 10 people, sometime. Yeah. It kind of grew because, say, 2 drummers, lead guitar, and then another guitar, 3 horns, bass, keyboard. It got up to around 10.
You had any extra vocalists?
Yeah, we had extra vocalists at different times, besides Doris.
Sound?
Well, Sam was leading. We had 2 guys at one time. I wasn't with them then, but they had them, 2 brothers out of West Point. I don't remember their name. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Had another female singer, Daisy. What's Daisy's last name then? Daisy Graham. I think she was Daisy Graham at the time, but she's Sam Riddle's niece, I believe.
Okay.
Or something like that. And she sang to it with us. And we had another female from Tupelo. Can't call her name up right now. Peggy, I can't remember her last name.
Now, you said you have 2 drummers. Do they both play at the same time?
Yeah, no, they complement each other.
Okay.
One got the pocket beater, you want to say. Another one add in stuff like cymbals, blocks, bells, whatever they want to do, and sometimes
Not 2 full drum kits on
Yeah.
stage. They did?
Yeah, we had 2
Wow.
full drum kits. Yeah, and sometimes they switch off who got the lead on the drums.
That's unusual.
Well, for around here, yeah, but James Brown, I think he's the one started that. I may be wrong, but excuse me, he had, they said he was the hardest working man in show business. He worked his drummer so hard, he had to have 2 drummers, to keep up with him.
Yeah.
So that's where we got that from.
Did you ever miss playing drums once you switched to bass?
Yeah, I did, but I got to play off and on different places, especially like when I went into service, our MWR, some other guys and myself, we ended up starting a band, having a band in the military, and different places we go, I sit in, stuff like that. And let me see, one of my first duty stations, I got with a band. This was in Maryland, down from D.C., a place called Lexington Park, Maryland. I played drums for a group there, and pretty much anywhere I get a chance, I kept playing. And of course, when I got out, I used to play back in church for a while until I started back playing bass. So I'd switch up. One of the young guys played drums and I played bass. So that's how it goes. But yeah, I miss playing drums.
Where do you play now?
Right now I play at church. Hadn't played drums in a while, but mostly just bass every now and then because I had a motorcycle accident last year, and while I was rehabbing, we got another bass player, so I couldn't do nothing, so I just play off and on now if he's out or something like that.
Where do you play? What church do you play at?
East Baptist Church in Pontotoc. I go to, I live and play in Pontotoc. And I played with another group here some time ago out of Tupelo. We got together, had a band. I played bass, but I think we done drifted out now. I know they got different guys now all together, but Tupelo.
Now, where did you go to church growing up?
I went to church here in New Albany, up on Baker Street, a place called Hall's Chapel. That was my main church, but I really went to most of the church. Golden Gate, I went there, but in and out. But my home church was Hall's Chapel. Went to Watson Grove off and on, but I wasn't a member there. We just went around churching.
Well, during that time when you were growing up, going to these churches living around your neighborhood, was music a strong force at any of those that kind of?
Well, a strong force, I'd have to say yeah, because all the churches had choirs, musicians. Some might have had more than others. Like Golden Gate, I know they kind of they had guitar, bass, and keyboards, either organ and piano or both. My church, which was a Methodist church, we all I ever remember us having was keyboards, piano, and of course we had the choirs, and pretty much that went for the rest of them that I know I can think of.
Was that Hall's Chapel that was the Methodist church?
Yeah, Hall's Chapel and Malibu Methodist Church. Watson Grove was Baptist, and the other one is Church. I think it's Church of God. It was whatever you call that. But anyway, it was Church of God.
Was there any church that everybody knew that was the church where the music was going to be
Well,
awesome?
I don't know, but I know the Church of God attracted a lot of attention when they especially had revivals and stuff like that. They have, you could hear their music all over the block, a few blocks away. Yeah.
Which church is that?
The one down by Bradley's Barbershop. Yeah, Church of God.
Did gospel music have any influence on you as a young musician?
Well, yeah, because I listened to all of it, and of course, I always had an interest in keyboard, but never took no lessons or anything. But we sang gospel all the time. It was gospel and blues, it was both of them was in-house.
You said that your mom listened to the radio all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What was she listening to? What station?
Wasn't too many stations we could pick up back then, but I think Houston and this place out of Nashville, Tennessee, WLAC. I got that. And it was, I think Houston used to play gospel mostly, but on Saturday they played blues. And my mother, she listened to both of them. And like I said, she sang around the house all the time, and she had a few of these old, but she could blow a cone, and she play the spoons, you know, and she did that around the house, you know, we picked that up. So I guess we kind of got it from her mother, you know, the music and everything.
Do you remember who her favorite artist was? Did she have anybody that's her favorite?
Not really, not favorite, because like I said, we listen to all of it, but any of it come on, she was on it, you know. And my mother used to have like house parties, weenie roasts, stuff like that, fish fries, and played a record player. So we had music around the house. I forgot what all we had, but whatever we bought, that was it. But of course, we wasn't playing gospel at the fish fry. Yeah.
I guess your mom's probably passed away.
Yes, she passed away in 1981. My father passed when I was about 3 years old. So we grew up in a single family home, mother. And as the boys grew up, we stretched out, moved on out and came back, moved out again. So I do have a half sister in Baldwin, but she's passed too on my dad's side. And like I said, it's just me and Miles left, the brothers.
Now, so Bob was the only one who picked up on the singing.
Yes.
He's the only one who would sing.
Well, he's the only one that did sing, yeah. Basically, since I still play every now and then, you know, every now and then I get to pluck a little bit around, keeping it going myself and my brother, and talk about it, you know, and it's kind of been documented here at the museum, so that's the way the legacy will keep going. Like my nephews, Penny's kids, they was in the band, but I don't know if they ever got in really deep into the music to play in a group. And we was gonna try to do something with them back when they had something down in New Albany. We was gonna try to get them in the horn section, but it didn't work out. So I don't know how it's gonna keep going as far as anybody else playing. Because Miles, he doesn't sing or play an instrument. Now he help out sometime on the percussion with tambourine and bells and blocks and things like that, the music. But just keep the name alive. Yeah.
Well,
it ain't gonna go away because, you know, we got that blues mark out there.
Right.
It ain't going nowhere.
Right.
And Malaco keeps it alive because they part of the Malaco legacy. I don't know if you ever see that book. Well, we got from Wolf Stevenson from Malaco did, and Bobby and them is in the book for the 1989 European tour.
I don't think I've seen the book. I was here the night that they brought the big framed thing,
Yeah.
the records and
the gold records.
presentation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, the gold records. You don't stop talking about gold records.
No.
We had two. Down Home Blues and Slide On with Johnny Taylor. Down Home Blues with Sam and Bob helped write and produce it, of course, and played on it. Probably sing background. And what's the guy name? I can't think of his name now. Anyway, the Down Home Blues song. Then Johnny Taylor with the Slide On. But they had good success also with Bobby Bland. One of his albums, Sunday Morning Blues, I think that was the name of it. Denise DeSalle, they did some stuff with her.
High school kids don't seem to have bands anymore, like y'all did.
No, not high school. They usually maybe form later, you know, but it seems like sports is the main thing. But back then, you know, well, of course, being in a band, get on girls, stuff like that. But also it was kind of a driving force to maybe one day you'll get a record deal or something and get famous, But nowadays, you don't see too many kids, trying to have bands.
Seems like it'd be a fun thing to do.
Yeah, it's a fun thing to do. Get to travel, meet a lot of people, get to be known. It would be nice now, but might be a little hard getting around nowadays. But pretty much the guys, especially around my age now, getting up there in the mid-70s, everybody's kind of just fading out, not doing anything else, passing on, But I got my guitar at home. I feel like plucking. I go on and play something at home. I probably get enough playing around at church. But it's hard to get people now to be committed to things like that now. But some are. But a lot of them not, because it's a job.
Were you part of the recordings of Sidone and Down Home Blues?
No, they did that while I was gone.
You were gone.
Yeah, I was gone. But Bobby and Sam mostly, did pretty much the foundation of it, the tracks and the vocals, and then it went from there to the other artists. But Larry Berry, he I don't know if he did some of the recording work as far as getting the tracks laid down, but that's about it as far as I can think of. But I didn't. I was gone.
Yeah. Were you there the day that Bob passed away?
Yeah, I was. Actually, I was. At times we had two bass players too, so and besides the two drummers, but Larry and I would switch up. We play something different, but still in sync with the song. So on that day in August 22nd, we was down in Verona at Green Tea Park playing. In fact, Bobby Rush was there. This other band there was a band from Oxford. It was a family band. I can't think of the name of them now. But anyway, we had been sitting in the van talking with Bobby Rush, Bobby and Sam, myself, and probably Larry. But I know us four was in the van. And it was a hot day. And so we were sitting around there, and after it came time for us to play, we got dressed and went to perform. I think maybe we was on our second song or something. And Bobby was on keyboard, like on the left side of the stage. If you're looking at it, it's on the right. But I was standing behind him playing bass, and to watch what happened was like, it was unreal. So he collapsed and fell on his keyboard, and then he raised back up again, So I thought he was messing with his foot pedal or something down there. So, and then he did it again that second time and didn't raise up. So I set my guitar down and pulled him back off of the piano, and we laid him on the floor. And he had a massive heart attack, and just so happened a friend girl of mine, Alice, was there. She was a nurse, and she did CPR too, and of course 911 was called. But I was there and went to the hospital with him in the ambulance, and that was the day.
How old was he?
At the time, I ought to know that. Probably around 50. Yeah.
So young.
Yeah. It's a lot of young people passing now from heart attacks and everything else. don't even speak about this COVID, you know. COVID's still out there too.
Were you with Sam any before he passed away in the last few months?
Well, yeah, we'd eat together a good bit out at Two Sisters. We'd meet up at lunch, sometime talk, you know, just meet up. And that was his regular spot, so we know where to find him by midday, you know. And so after we was in our what is it called? Our little veteran group from New Orleans. You know, we meet up to. He kept coming until he got sick and couldn't come, and then he got to where he didn't come at all. And I go by his house, you know, holler at him sometimes. And I know the last couple of weeks, I've been by there a couple of times, and I've been by there. I think that he had just got out of the hospital, and I went by there. And about 3 or 4 days later, that's when he went back to the hospital. And I think that's when he passed. But the last few days, you know, we chit-chat, you know, sit around. But he wasn't getting out, you know, too much. Bobby, Air Force, Sam, Army, Mike, he's Army, I'm Navy. Joe Baker was Army. Doc Green didn't go, James Brown didn't go, Crow or Paul. But that was about it, yeah. Pretty much most of us was veterans, you know. We did our thing, served our country.
Yeah.
You know, my biggest influence was Bobby. And he taught me pretty much, I ain't gonna say everything I know, but a lot of what I know, and mentor, brother, you know, musician, friend, all of that. And he had a lot to share with a lot of people, and he did. And a lot of his musicianship came from, well, listening, you know, family, other people. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he did take some piano lessons at one time when we couldn't keep a piano player together. He said, I'm gonna learn piano, and so we have a keyboard all the time. And he did. So that's when he started playing piano and organ, whatever.
Who gave him piano lessons?
It was somebody in Tupelo where he go to. I don't remember the name. I don't know how much he did, but you know, he got a lot out of that, and it helped the band also. You know, when we trying to arrange songs and stuff and play them right, especially when you're playing somebody else's stuff. But yeah, he was definitely a big influence on me, on my musical career. I try to pass it on to my kids, but ain't nobody picked it up.
I'm sure that as a band, y'all have all influenced lots of younger artists.
We had a lot of people used to follow us around just to hear us play, whether it was Sam playing or Bobby playing or singing. Sam, the same thing. Coming to watch Crow play drums. Larry.
That's a show in itself.
Oh, yeah. And we had a good following all around. Everybody enjoyed us. I ain't never heard nobody say that they didn't enjoy us playing. We wasn't playing good enough. Bobby and Sam always got together, and sometimes they be on the same page, sometimes not. But I know Bobby, as far as him and his music, that was like, I ain't gonna say first, second, third love, but he was into his music. And you bring up music, he on it. And he did everything that he could to make it right, and, you know, play the right thing, write the right thing. But he always dug into his music. He was in it. And he passed it on. I'm glad he passed it on to me.